Hello everyone and welcome to our I Pick My Butt video. More Archero today, and in this video, how to beat chapter 25. Yes, we have done it, finally beat it, woohoo! Yes, on to the next one to deal with another pain in the neck chapter. Now, I did record my damage done after the first stage, and unfortunately, this was one of those nerf runs, so I'm going to have to try to prove that in the next chapter and see what happens. Now, we are going in with just shy of 17,000 attack. I would have had a little bit more, but I was screwing up a little bit on the runes there, and I swapped one where I lost my attack plus 4%. So dropped me down about 1,000, and it doesn't seem like it wants to give me that rune back anytime soon. So either way though, we were able to get those extra levels from having the actual update. So the Demon Blade went up, and then also the Bright Robe went up, which gave us about an extra 5,000 health. I think that was really a help on this, but really the main things I ran into while getting this was I did grab multi-shot and I got 2 sets of diagonal arrows. I didn't really struggle at all with the bosses on it. I know a lot of people have said that the last boss was really difficult, but honestly, I didn't find it was too bad. Now, one little screw up that I did was I forgot what enemies I was going in against at this, so I did grab Dark Touch. And if you know, Dark Touch is going to initiate any of those mushrooms if another enemy is attacked and that Dark Touch goes off around them, and then it'll cause them all to spawn. So surprisingly, I thought that was going to be a bad case, but it really didn't seem to affect it too much. Now, I did get the elemental upgrade, which if you see my, 26 million or 100 million video damage, every time we get that Dark Touch with elemental upgrade, if we kill the first enemy, we're good. If there's a second enemy around them, we're going to do double the damage. If there's an enemy near that, we're going to be doing double of that last enemy's damage, and so on. So it really starts stacking itself. And it really can be quite dangerous if you have a lot of them out there, because it's going to just start dropping them right away. Now, out of all the enemies that you run into in this, probably the ones I had the most trouble with, or I would say are the most trouble, are going to be the tentacles. But if you are using the Demon Blade, you will have that melee just to kind of swipe them as they get near you. Obviously, you want to get something, either the diagonal arrows, a rear arrow, or the side arrows. Preferably the diagonal or the sides. Those will give you a little bit more of a smack and a good sweep on them, but really any of those are going to be good combinations. Like I said though, 2 diagonals and a multi-shot, pretty much any weapon I can think of, that's going to be very overpowering no matter which way you look at. Now, as far as the mobs versus the bosses, really didn't struggle at all with the bosses on this. I think this is going to be more of a mob one, so if you can, try to run 2 bull rings. That should help out with the mobs and give you that damage resistance on it. But me, I always like to kind of go 1 bull and 1 lion, unless I'm really seeing myself struggle, then I kind of decide where to go from there. The other little kicker here is because I got that Dark Touch, it makes these jumping kind of skeletons go a little wonky here. So you'll see some that kind of just bounce one way and then they go left or right, where they would just normally go towards the area where I was last standing. And whenever you see those guys, just always keep on running towards them. Just go up and down on the screen, and eventually they do die pretty quickly. And if you saw back there, I did grab Rage, which should help out, but I didn't see myself getting too low on hit points where it was making a huge difference. I am a fan of using Guju on a board like this over Helix because of that damage resistance that you get from the bats. That really seems to help out. And as you can see with the Demon Blade, once again, just going matter of popping it and getting those swiped down. Now, you know me, I do tend to screw this up quite a bit. There is a little bit later in the video where I do pop it, and it seems like the timing of using your melee versus your actual range shots, it seems to be a little bit more of a delay on the melee. So if you're not used to using the Demon Blade, you really got to try to figure it out and get the feel for it of, okay, I'm popping the ult, I need to go a little bit slower on my stutter step to get those good consistent swings. Now, if you saw there, I did grab the Smart over the Attack Major. A lot of you might be saying, why the Smart? Why not go for that extra boost of attack on it? Well, with having the Bright Robe, we're going to get the extra hit point for every single level that we go up in it. And I was thinking to myself, this is 2 more chances that I could get for having the option of getting the diagonals or side arrows, because starting off, I gotta be honest with you, this didn't really look like too good of a run. Actually, when I realized that I had picked the Dark Touch up and going into the first boss, and I really didn't have anything great for the abilities, I was almost thinking, you know what, maybe I should just start this over, you know, that whole thing of knowing that this wasn't going to be one of those nerf runs almost did deter me from actually, you know, playing the game through. But I said, you know what, let me just troop it out, see where it goes. We'll see how far we get into it, and then we can just kind of decide from there. Another thing I ended up getting was I did get the extra life. Although I didn't really need it, we did pop it. I did die once in this, and then the extra life just kind of revived myself, versus, you know, using the coin, or using the gems, I should say, or watching the ad to go and just kind of keep on going. Now, I gotta say though, because I did have that extra life, it was kind of nice to just kind of be in the moment versus, you know, watching that 30-second ad and kind of taking your mind off the game. But it might just actually lead me to spend the 30 gems from now on instead of watching the ad, because it was just quick. I was right back in, and bam, it wasn't too much trouble at all. From time to time, you'll see these forest bats just kind of wandering around the screen and me missing every single shot at them. So what you really got to try to do is just line yourself up like a bull running at you, and that's going to be your best bet at hitting them, because even though they're not terrible to kill, it can be pretty frustrating just watching your arrows miss them nonstop. As far as the blue mushrooms, kind of get up to them if you want, but I try to back off just a little bit. I actually just popped my ult there. That kind of got me a little bit irritated also. Made me think I was going to lose once again. But I try to get close to him, see if I can get a swipe, then back off. I usually kind of compare this pretty well to Tornado Joe, as I call him, or what would be the skeleton, or tornado skeleton, tornado mage, I think it is. You know, you just kind of want to go and do that little bit of a swoop, kind of like a smiley face around them, and it's a little bit easy to dodge. There might be times where they get close, but luckily having that Demon Blade, if you do have the right amount of attack, you can usually get some range hits in and then get that final smack in to kill them. And if you do have a wall between you and those mushrooms, try to get it to the point where they run right into the wall. You should be able to swipe them through the wall with the Demon Blade if you are using it, which, once again, highly recommend you do, because let's be honest, the thing's so freaking overpowered, it's insane. The red mushrooms, they're going to be a little bit different when you run into them. That's going to require you to use kind of a lot of moving left to moving right, and just kind of like the lizards that shoot the fireball. You want to constantly be moving on it. And this is where I really say that, you know, Dark Touch can be very troublesome to you. Also, Freeze is going to be another one on this, especially with the jumping guys. They can really go and make those big giant leaps across the screen if you do happen to freeze them. So we're always trying to save these ults for the bosses, and as you can see here, it's like sticking the butter in the microwave. We're just gonna melt him right away, and then bam. And probably the hardest one that we're gonna run into this is gonna be the 2 candle bosses, or 2 chicken heads, whatever you like to call them. They're the ones that shoot those 3 fireballs out, and then they bounce, and they're kind of like homing towards you, at least from where the bounce is. They're not actually homing, but it's gonna go in the direction. Same thing with the Tornado Joe on it. Kind of just try to wait for him to hit the wall, move up, move back around, and you'll see it when it comes to it there. Just kind of like a circling effect. And I always get kind of risky when I come to those guys, because they do have a lot of hit points, and I will usually run up and try to ult one of them. And I think that might have been the one in this video where I kind of stalled a little bit on my ult. But I do try to at least get one of them killed and then play back safe on the other one. Now, another huge thing on top of me getting those other abilities I talked about, we were able to grab both Piercing and Bounty Wall, which is going to be a huge help. I mean, I would have taken Ricochet in place of both of them too. That's always going to be a big help. But really, having those, you can see I'm really trying to just get that straight shot at them and have it bounce back and just wipe them out real easily. So something that's very beneficial on a board like this, where we have these walls all over the place, it does seem to help out, and it does take care of them pretty quickly. You will run into some Scythe Mages in this, although their health isn't really the highest, and you will see some Wolves occasionally too, but these are going to be the majority of the enemies we go up against. There is the Laser Mages and some Laser Bats, and as I've talked about before, just big steps on those when you are stutter stepping. Not the stutter step, not the micro step, not even a macro step. Make sure you go a little bit further, because those beams on the Laser Bats are a lot wider than they look, and also the mage ones, they just seem to hit you if you're even close to them. So all things to be careful of. But this is where we start really run into those tentacles, and as you can see, when they drop by me, they do seem to get hit right away. I am keeping in mind though that it is kind of going off on a star pattern when they do go, and I was trying to move a good amount knowing that they were going to try to pop up right underneath me. And the other boss we ended up running into is the orb pigs, the ones that shoot the orbs out and then the orbs split off and bounce off the walls. Very simple to go through. I think I just went up to them and then just swiped the crap out of them, and they drop pretty quick too. But I'm going to go to the end here. I'm not going to actually talk all the way through this. If there is a couple of things that you want to take away from this, if you don't want to see the final boss on this, is definitely use a Demon Blade. Try to go with Guju if you can, or at least build yourself some good resistance for front resistance. And then if you can, I'd say go 2 bowls on it and really just try to get that good RNG. Now, meet you at the final boss and we'll talk about that. Alright, surprisingly we made it all the way this far without dying. You can see here how I'm using the wall against these guys just to be safe. But when we go into the final boss, there is going to be 2 of these mushrooms. A lot of people say activate just 1, but unfortunately, as I was saying before, we got the dark touch on it, and I didn't even think about that guy right there was going to go and jump at me. So pretty much 3, maybe call it 4 attacks. They're going to have the jumping there where you see all the little green things bounce out. They're going to come out at large and then go and hit the wall and then come back out again at smaller ones. Now, this is a very good distant board, so really running from the top to the bottom is going to be a huge one. But you can kind of just see that I'm keeping my distance. The second that they start rolling at me, I'm just going to kind of work myself out of the way and around them, and then obviously watch out for that jump too. The hardest part about this is going to be when they spawn more of them, just like that right there. And this would be great to have Ricochet on it. Luckily, like I said, we do have the bouncy wall and we do have the piercing. But man, those guys were enough to be a little bit of a pain. Now, I could have just played sloppy on this, but I really didn't want to have you guys go, geez, you know, so what you're telling us to do to win is just have that extra revive there pick and then die. But nope, we were able to do it just barely on it. Like I said, not too hard at all. So let me know what your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and remember, I pick my butt.